So welcome back to my channel. My name's Ian, and what we're doing in this series is just going through and showing how to create characters using various game systems, and this time out Rolemaster Classic, which is roughly the same game as Rolemaster 2nd Edition. We've looked at a lot of the class-based games like Dungeons and Dragons and the sort of random generation pattern that you get with creating characters' backgrounds with Traveller, but with Rolemaster it's very much a character design. You get to make a fair few decisions in going through. So rather than rolling up your statistics and then seeing where that takes you, you get to choose what kind of, or the broad kind of character that you want to play first, and then shape things accordingly as you go along. So the first thing we do, and before we get to rolling stats up, is to choose our profession and our race and so on. So what I'm going to do is to create a ranger character, because that's sort of a bit of, it's a semi-spell user, so there's some magic stuff involved and some non-magic stuff involved in the skills and the basis for the character. So it's a kind of halfway house rather than going for a pure arms user or a pure spell user. So in profession here we're just going to write ranger. And race, I'm just going to choose something wood elf, because I happen to like wood elves. Right. And from the book and the description of ranger, if we look at the professions, make good use. Now, one of the things that Rolemaster, and I think it's Iron Crown in general, they have improved over the years, but especially if you pick up the 2nd edition Rolemaster books and go through the character generation process, then it's very much having to leap backwards and forwards in the book to find the relevant reference sections. And you'll find that as we go through. So here we go, professions that combine arms and magic, so semi-spell users. And we have rangers. Rangers are semi-spell users of the realm of channeling. So our realm is chosen for us. If you're a non-spell user, then you have to choose a realm at level 1, because we are, and we'll come to the rest of that in a second. Our primary requisites, and I'm just going to note this on the scratch, our primary requisites are intuition and constitution. So IN and CO are our primaries. That become important when we actually generate our statistics. Intuition, all channeling users have intuition as a primary one, and then constitution, because as a ranger they're meant to be tough. And that's really all there is to it for our initial decisions there. So we can now get to rolling. Most of the die rolls we'll need will be percentile dice, so let's move most of these out and get it down to just the percentile dice in there. Just set this aside. So what we do next is to roll our statistics. Now the way we do this is just by rolling 10 1d100 rolls. If any of them turn up under 20, we will re-roll them, but we don't have to assign them at this point. We just make the rolls. So that's the friendly back dice and dice thing. Also pretty good off the bat there. So that's a 12, so ignore that and re-roll it. An 18. 24, there we go. So that's our basic stats. Now we've got this 97 and this 96. We've got two options here. We can reassign any of the scores that we put into our primary. So these are primary statistics. I can put a score into any of those primary statistics and then replace it with a score of 90. So I could put the 97 and the 96 in intuition and constitution, but that would mean that we can't drop some of these lower scores in favour of that, in favour of 90. So we could up the stats as it is. So what I am going to do, I'm going to keep that 97, but I'm going to get rid of that 24 and replace that at 90 by putting it into Constitution. So if I then go, let's put a dividing line around those. So for Constitution, I'm going to assign that 24, but then replace it with a 90 because it's a primary statistic. For Agility, let's choose a relatively high one for Agility as well. Let's say, let's make one of those 73s. Then Self-Discipline, not too high. Let's, but you know, high enough. Let's say that 51 can go into there. Then Reasoning, I'm going to give that, now what do we make him? Let's give that 49 into Reasoning. So Strength, so what I was saving that 83 for. Quickness, I'm going to put that 97 in. Presence, we're going to, let's give them a 41 in presence. Intuition, so I'm going to put that 96. And then Empathy, so one thing I missed out there is memory. That's a good thing about scratch paper there. So Empathy, we've got 73 in Empathy, that final 73, and then that 65 just drops into memory. So what we do now, we need to create pairs. These are our temporary stats to start with, and we're going to create pairs for our potential scores. So we'll just roll some of these again. So 73. Now this is slightly different from the order of the book, but I think this the potential rolls don't really matter. You can do that before your assignment or after you assign them. If you're doing them before you assign them, then you know this would have been, let's say we got the 73 for that 24 anyway, so it would have been 2473, and I put it into Constitution, then upped it to 90, but the 73 would still remain. So there is some sort of strategy there involved if you want to do it by the book, as it were, by rolling up the pairs and then assigning the pairs. But in what I'm saying is it's not necessary to do it that way. You can do it in this order after they've assigned them as well. Now these potential rolls, unlike the temporary rolls that we made first, we're not re-rolling anything that comes under 20, like that 17 remains, because these are ultimately looked up on table. So now we've got all those, we can actually translate these into the actual potential rolls that we get. So we need this table here. So what we do with this table is we look up the score, so in this case a 90, which is this column, and then look up the roll. So 73, cross-reference that with 73, 73, so that stays at being 90. So I'm just going to put 90 at the end. So 73 versus 17, 73 in a roll of 17, and that stays at 73. So now we've got our temporary and our potentials. So these rolls now don't really mean anything. They just we use to determine these values here. Right. The next step that the character generation advises is to come up with a background for your character. Now this is useful, that it can guide. This is entirely a narrative thing, but it can guide your characters, where you're going to put skills in and stuff like that. So if you've already sketched out a history that my character has spent all of his youth chasing after deer or whatever, then that would give you some prompts to go down and put more points into hunting skills or something like that. So you can use this area of the character sheet here just to note down some background. Or again, you can just see what skills you turn up with, still what points you come through, see how you want to do things, and go from there. Come up with a character that you want to play. One of the things you get is these background options. So we have a background option table. We're going to look at wood elves, and we get 4 background options here. So 4 background options. Sorry, Alan, I'm going to scribble over here. And then we can then select them that we like. So all of these are background options that we can have, and we can set through. So we've got set options. We have special abilities. We have further over. We have special items. We have special wealth. We have special status. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a set options and use one of my background options on that. So it's simple. In this case, let's go for this special +10 in a primary skill. We'll work that out. So we've got a +10 in a primary skill. So that's one of our options. Then we're going to, let's have a look. Let's have a special ability one. So roll 52. So go for 52, which is good tendons. Good tendons gives us, your legs have a tremendous spring. You receive +10 at all leaping manoeuvres. So +10 leaping manoeuvres. A vertical jump of up to 4 feet. So let's just write down good tendons. Tendons. Standing jump of 8 foot or running jump of 20 foot routine. Your hands and joints share this uniqueness. You get a +10 bonus for actions involving picking locks. So pick locks. Rowing or pulling things through your hands. Right. So tugging a rope, blah, 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 blah. Syndrome is a drawback. Whenever you strike something with your hand or with an object in your hand, you should roll. Should the result be what O1 to 5, your hands will be locked and useless for 100 rounds. So there's 5% chance that if we hit something with a sword or something like that, then we're locked. So I'm going to put that 5% chance of locking hands. Right. So there's some good and some bad in that one. That brings us down to 2. So let's have a look. Special items, that might be a good worthwhile one. So 80 +5 bonus non-magic item. +15, sorry. So +15 non-magic item. Bonus non-magical items permit either a bonus to rolls, associated actions, static maneuvers, blah, 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 or they can reduce the associated maneuvers, i.e. shields or chain, and so on. So we could apply that to armour to reduce the manoeuvre penalty for it. So that gives us one actual left. And I think we'll go for the special items again and see what we get there. So 38 this time, plus 10 non-magic item. So plus 10 non-magic item. I know I'm drawing all over Roy and Dirk on there, but so it might not be so easy to read, but just for the notes as we go through. So that's our background stuff done. Now we move on to Adolescent. So you can make some sense of all of those and where they all came from as part of the narrative of your character. We're then getting on to Adolescent skill development. So once you pass chapter 2, chapter 2 gives an overview of character generation, and in each of the chapters deals with various elements as you're going through. Now, what we need is the statistics one, so we go back to 5, and then find the statistics table, which is here, and this will determine our DP. So our development points will be determined from our temporary values for the first 5 stats. So these stats are the active ones, and these ones up to memory are the inactive ones. So, sorry, the inactive ones. The development stats. So for each score we get a certain amount of DP. So for a score of 90 it's 8, and then for a score of 73 it is 6. For a score of 51 it is 5. For a score of 49 it is also 5, and then for a score of 65 it is 6. So we sum all that up. So 22, 30. So that's 30 development points. We can also figure out our power points while we're here, but we'll do that in a second. Okay, so that's it, 30 development points that we have. So we go over to our Adolescent skill development. And we are going to have a look at the development point costs for skills for rangers. Here we go. So one of the things we've got to do is we've got to arrange the 6 categories of weapons in the order that we are going to find them the DP for. So I'm just going to write these down. Let's go from the top actually first. So the first one's manoeuvring armour. So we've got manoeuvre in armour, and then we've got soft leather, rigid leather. So soft leather, rigid leather, chain, and plate. All right. And then the weapon skills. In the order I'm going to put these in, I'm going to put missile first as its first category, because ranger, wood elf, is going to be an expert bowyer, right? Then one-handed edged. Then thrown. Then pole arms, which will give us a spear. Then we're going to go, let's have two-handed, and then let's have crushing. Purely because I don't envisage this character being so much a club or a mace guy. Right, so we can put the costs in as we go, but we'll fill the skills in first. Then we're going to have climb. We're going to have hide. Then perception. And spell stuff, we're going to have rooms. 6 ones. So I'm going to put body development separate for here. And then PowerPoint development. Now PowerPoint development is a optional one, but I quite like it. So it means it's in the same, uses the same scope as body development, makes it a bit more consistent. Okay, so for the spells, let's just go and have a look and see if what the spell lists for rangers are. So rangers are semi-spell users. So his base is BDE, so the B portion is 1 to 10, and then D is 11 to 20, and then the E portion is 21 up. Okay, so, and then open. What this does is it splits the spell lists down into blocks of levels. And you see from the spell list, let's give you a show of a spell list. So they've got a number of spells for given levels. So the B pick goes from 1 to 10, so it'll be these first 10 spells that you are trying to learn with that spell list development. And then the 11 to 20 block, after you've successfully learned those, then you'll learn these. And then after that, you've got the E picks on there. So your base lists are the ones that are associated with the class. The open lists are associated with your realm of magic. So this will be open channeling that he's looking at. So his semi-spell list. So he's looking at 1 to 5. That's his first portion, and then 6 or higher. Oh, so 6 to 10. Sorry, and then closed. He's looking at, no, can't use closed spells at all. So they're the options that we've got. So if we look at we want to find, this is essence, so we've got, this is all clerics, rangers, there we go. So we want to have a figure out if there's any particular spell list we want to go for from a ranger point of view. So we've got inner walls, which gives us resistances and things, moving ways, which allows us to move around a bit more, nature's guises, which are changing your form and so on, and nature's way. So let's go for, let's have a look. So let's have nature's guises. So we're looking at, that's a ranger, it's a base list for a ranger. So we're looking at the first pick, we'll learn 1 to 10. And then I'm going to look at the open channeling for a general healing type thing. So concussion's way, there we go. This will give some basic healing stuff. So concussion's way. Okay. There are our two spell lists we might want to develop at the start here. I'm just going to scribble those on. So spells, nature's guises, and concussion's way. And then when we come to adrenal moves, so linguistics is linguistics is speaking languages and so on. So we'll come to the languages that we might want to learn there, and we can go for adrenal moves. So adrenal moves, we've got adrenal strength, and speed and balance and leaping and landing. So we don't really need to add directed spells at this point because neither of the ones we've got have got any directed spells on. So we've sorted out spells, we've sorted out directional stuff, we've sorted out the adrenal moves. Now martial arts, there are strikes and sweeps. So because I don't envisage our guy being pretty much a hand-to-hand guy, so we're not going to add any of martial arts in him, and we'll leave those skills alone for now. We'll also the secondary skills. There are a ton of these. There's some of these that are going to be useful to him and some aren't. So what we'll add in is some of the ones that will be useful to him. So animal healing. Let's have a look. Fletching, probably. Make his own arrows. Foraging, definitely, you know. Frenzy, gambling, herding, jousting, leatherworking. Sort of law ones, meditation, music, navigation, rope mastery, rowing, rope mastery, yeah, let's put that in there. Rowing, sailing, seduction, well, possibly. Singing, skiing, smithing, spell mastery, stargazing, stone carding, streetwise, subduing, tracking, trading, trap building, trickery, tumbling, weather watching, and wood carving. Okay, so while we're on this table, we'll put the costs for ranger down in here. So animal healing for a ranger is 2.5. We've got 30 points to spend. And we'll just have at it. This is our adolescent spell development. So the adolescent spell development here goes up to what it says, approximately age of 14. But it's wood elf, so it'll be a bit different to that. So what we're doing is taking our character from a child up to profession level 0, if you like. So what we're not really looking at is to go mad with our some of the esoteric skills. It's a good idea just to sit to the basics. So our let's go and box all of that. Let's have a look. So let's have a couple of ranks. We've got 30. Let's have a couple of ranks in manoeuvre in rigid leather. So that will give us 4. Let's have a couple of ranks in bow. So that will give us 10 points. That is. So that'll be 10. That gives us 16 points left to spend. 1 rank in sword. So we're now down to 12 points left. 1 rank in climb, that's 3 points there. 1 rank in swim, that's 2, so that brings us up to 23, so we've got 7 points left. Let's give him 1 rank in stalk and hide. Which is 1 point. So we're on 18, 23, 24. 1 rank in perception. 26. And we've got 1 rank in body development. That brings up to 28. And what I'm going to do is to knock down that rigid leather to 1, and so the actual cost of that will just be 2. So that gives us 4 ranks to spend at the event. So that's 10, 12, 16, 19, 21, 22, 24, 25, 26, which is 4 ranks. So I'm going to put Nature's Guises here. So 1 rank there for 4 points, and that's our 30, or the initial sort of block that we've done. It's got no PowerPoint at the moment, because I didn't put anything into PowerPoint development, but let's, what did we put into bow? We put into 3 ranks, and so I could put that down to 1, so that brings that down to 3. So that means we've got 7 skill points left to go. So let's do a PP dev. That brings that down. So that would be 5 ranks. So I've got two ranks left. And let's see what we've got that we can spend another 2 ranks in. So we could do that, bring that rigid leather up again. Or we could put in, let's say tracking, something he learned from an early age. Okay, so that's all our ranks from from this. So we've got rigid leather 1, we've got bow 1, we've got sword 1. We have climb 1, we have swim 1, we have stalk and hide 1 of that, we have perception 1, we have body development 1, we have nature's guises 1, and we have PowerPoint development PP dev 1, and we have tracking 1. Okay. So at the end of adolescent development, we also get our stat gain. So what we need to do, let's get back to where we put our statistics. We need to get to chapter 5 again. That's our build frame. No, come on. That's chapter 4. Stat effects, stat gain roll. So what we need to do for each one of our statistics, we need to roll percentile dice again. Alright, so this is doing our stat gain at the end of adolescence. So 83 is difference between potential and that is 0. 90 minus 90 is 0. So we don't get anything. So nothing happens there. So agility is again it's 0. So we're just rolling that. What we're hoping for is on these ones that are 0 that it doesn't turn up to be a 0 to a 4, because this row here means that something happened and the stat actually went down. So in that case it's 72. That's fine. 51. So we're on the 0 column again for that, which is fine. Now the difference here, 66 minus 49. Show my embarrassing, subtraction levels is 17. So we go on this column here, and we find it's a 78. 78 gives us plus 13. So now our reasoning has gone up to 62. So I'm just going to write that 62 there, cross that out. Now that is going to have an effect on our development points for this time. So 0 column on the next one. Okay, so that's the end of our adolescent development. So now we go into our apprenticeship development. Right, now we've got to, one of our development stats has gone up, so this went from 49 to 62. So 62 gives us 6. So the 49 gave us 5. The 62 gives us 6. So that means we're now on 31. So we get an extra point this time. We can also make a spell gain roll to see if we've actually got anything here. We need to actually calculate the percentage thing. So I'm going to switch over to this. Do a scratch pattern on this. So the spell gain roll is made to see if you actually successfully doing it. So you develop your points in it. That then translates into a percentage chance to actually learn that, and if you succeed, your ranks get reset down to nothing again, and you build up from there. And if you don't succeed, then you retain the ranks, and then next level you develop more skill ranks in it, gives you a higher chance of success, and then you keep going until you successfully succeed. So in the case of Nature's Guises, we've developed 1 rank in that. So the ranks give 5 times the skill rank. So we've got 5. And we get, that's it. So what we're trying to do is roll percentile dice, and add our bonus for our ranks, which is 5 times the ranks, and then try and get higher than 100. Try and break 100. So what we're trying to, hopefully we want a 96 or more on this roll. So it's unlikely to get there, but we'll see. No, it isn't. So those ranks are retained, but we go through. It's also noted that the body development, our 1 rank of body development, will give us a hit die roll for concussion hits. When we look that up for Wood Elves, I think it's a D8 or something like that, but we'll look that up on the table when we get there. Alright, so now we've got 31 points to spend on this. So we can go through the list again, probably go down through similar skills that we did before, and just improve them and just acquire a few other skills. So we've already got our manoeuvring armour. rigid leather rank. So that gives us our ranks. So I can now put in the skill ranks that we've got in these things there. So we've got 2 ranks in our rigid leather. We have got 2 ranks in missile, both in this case. 2 ranks in one-handed edge. 1 rank in ride. 1 rank in ambush. 1 rank in healing. 1 rank in flying. 1 rank in just hide. Just touch. Just blunt. Just disguises. 1 rank blunt. Just attack. And 1 rank. So that's all our basic development stuff done. So now we can fill in some of these other bits and pieces that we've got. So the rank bonus. Oh, first off, we can make a spell check for this. So now this is 2 times 5, which is 10. So we need a 91 or higher. 79. So those ranks remain for our nature's guises. And again, that will just keep going until you've developed. I think 20 ranks gives you an automatic, but you just keep going until you've actually filled it all in. So the rank bonus, this is a law of decreasing returns. So the more ranks that you buy, the less bonus that you get as you go up. Not development point, we want the bonus. There we go. Right, so the skill rank bonus. So you can see this is what I was saying earlier about just putting a single rank in so you don't get the penalty. So it's quite a hefty penalty for 0 ranks, it's minus 25. But then for each rank up to rank 10, it's a plus 5. So it's 5 times whatever your bonus is. And then for each rank after that, it's only a 2 up to 20, and then after 20 it's plus 1 per rank, and then after 30 it's only plus a half per rank. So ranks are the lower order of ranks. That's where most of your bonus comes from. And after rank 10 it starts to tail off. So we know the rank bonus is going to be 5 times whatever the rank is. So in this case, the rank bonus for 2 ranks is plus 10. And 1 rank is going to be plus 5. Now, stat bonus will depend, so we can look at the skills, and that will tell us what particular stat belongs to which particular thing. So we're just going for, I ought to really go and scribble them down the side. So from that we can work out all the stat bonuses. So we go back, and again this uses a bit of a law of diminishing returns. the higher the stats, then chapter 5. Stat gains and stat bonus, stat bonus, stat bonus. There we go. So we don't know that until we've actually calculated all of this. So we can fill in these values now because we've got to. We've actually completed that first stat gain roll, and we know what our temporaries and potentials are now. So Constitution is 90, Agility is 73. Sorry, 90 and 90, 73 and 73. There we go. Self-discipline 51 and 51. Reasoning is now 62, because that went up, and potentially 66. Memory is 65 and 65. Strength is 90, because that went up as well, and 91. Quickness is 97 and 97. Presence is 41 and 41. Intuition is 96 and 96. Empathy is 78, again one that went up, and 81. So the bonus for those, the temporary values, we'll fill in here. So 90 gives us plus 10. 73 gives us nothing. 51 also gives us nothing. 62 gives us nothing. 65 gives us nothing. 90 again gives us plus 10. 97 gives us plus 15. 41 gives us nothing. What we're looking for is under 25 to give us a penalty. 96 is plus 15. And our 78 gives us plus 5. So that side of it. Now the next column is race, so what we need to do is to find the race statistics, stats, blah, 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 blah. It's all here. So in Rolemaster what happens is that the bonuses for the races gets applied to the modifier that's used. So it doesn't adjust the temporary scores or anything like that. The scores are the same regardless of what race you are. There's no adjustment there. And it just comes down to the statistic rolls, so the modifiers are used. So for race here, we're looking at Wood Elf. So there's nothing for strength. Plus 5 on quickness. Plus 5 on presence. Nothing on intuition. Plus 5 on empathy. Nothing on constitution. Plus 10 on agility. Minus 20 on self-discipline. And plus 5 on memory. And nothing for reasoning. We can also fill in some other bits of our resistance rolls here. The essence minus 5, channeling minus 5, mentalism minus 5, disease plus 10. Well, sorry, disease is plus 100, and poison is plus 10. Always nice when they put things in tables in completely the opposite way around than they are on the actual sheet. And we can write some other bits and pieces floating around. So we've got, let's just include all of this stuff as well. So soul departure is 3. Stat debt is plus 2. This applies if he's like dying or on his way out. So 1.5. It's a good recovery. Number of languages, we get 3. And die type, this is for hit points, is 1d8. And max hits is 100. So that's how all of that works. Now what did we get to our special weak thing? So plus 10 for primary skill. leaping manoeuvres, and blah, blah, so that's all sort of goes. Yeah. Our tendons, special stuff. Okay. So the stat bonuses we can fill in now. Where there's more than one stat involved in modifying it, then the stat applies. It's taking the two values and averaging them, so or the three values in the case of these. So in this case, we'll add agility and strength together, and then divide by 2 to get the average of the two. So agility. I'm just going to. I can fill in the DPs, but don't worry about that at the moment. So the total bonus here is going to be plus 10, that's going to be plus 10, that's going to be minus 20, that's plus 5, that's plus 0, plus 10, plus 20, plus 5, plus 15, plus 10. Okay, so our strength is 10 and our agility is 10, so the average is easy to work out. It's going to be 10. Stat bonus plus 10. And I'm just going to do that, all of the ones that are AGST, if any. Right. So level bonuses, they provide a couple of bonuses here. One is the option from Rolemaster, the second edition Rolemaster, and one is what they call a standard system or Rolemaster fantasy role playing friendly option. So if you use this, it will make your character more easily, or it makes the process of converting it over to RMSS a lot easier. But because we are in the realms of Rolemaster 2 and Classic here, I'm just going to use the standard tables for that. So in this case, we've got a ranger. He gets +1 on his combat rolls. So his level bonus here is level 1. So he's got 1 there and 1 there. He also gets +3 on his outdoor skills. So the outdoor skills applies to climbing, swimming, and riding. It also says appropriate secondary skills such as tracking can also receive this bonus. So I'm going to say that foraging, that's a pretty outdoory skill. And tracking, let's say that's outdoor skill as it's in that. Rangers also get +1 in subterfuge skills, and subterfuge skills is disarming traps, picking locks, stalking and hiding, and a +1 on perception. Right, so perception down here. +1 on perception. Now that's gained per level, so every level he gains, that will go up. Okay, so that just leaves us with, we have a non-magical, a +15 non-magical item and a +10 non-magical item. So I'm going to say that this guy, his bow, is a +15 bow. Non-magical, but there you go. And I'm going to say his sword is a +10 sword. Alright. And then there's some additional extras on there. So what I'm going to do is to... Oh, look at that. Spell list. We could put Nature's Geysers in there. So we've got a special +10 to a primary skill. Any of these. What I suggest here, we're going to make him mega good with the old bow here. So I'm just going to put in a +10. That's from his special ability. And then I'm just going to put in at the top here. We've got +10 leaping. What else does it say? Pick locks. Locks, etc. So this is from good attendance, but there's a 5% chance when striking with handheld of locking hands for 1d100. Okay, and that's all of our background stuff that we've done. That's all managed in there, and Bob is proverbial uncle. Right. So a few things now to sort out. Right, after a bit of interest with cards running out of power. Right, so we're going to calculate his concussion hits. So the way this works, we've got 2 ranks of body development. It's got a D8 for hit dice, that's from being an elf. Total constitution modifier is +10. And a constitution of 90. So what we do is we start with constitution divided by 10, which gives us 9. That's the base hit points. Then we add a D8 for every rank. So 2 ranks of body development, that's 2 8-sided dice. So a 1 and a 7, so that's 8. So we've got 8 ranks from that. So that's his base hit points. So then we get a number of additional hits based on the Constitution bonus. So Constitution bonus is +10, and that gives us a 10% bonus to the number of hit points. So what we've got is this plus 10% of 17, and that gives us our total number. So 10% of 17 is equal to +2. So that's it. Total hit points is 17. So 9 from Constitution, 8 from our 2 D8 rolls, from 1 D8 roll per rank of body development. That was 17. Then plus Constitution modifier as a percentage of the base hits that from your Constitution and from your roll. So that rounds up to +2. So we end up with 19 hits. And again, we can fill that in our value there. Now, for PowerPoints, that's a straight lookup. So we need to find the stat that we have. And back to chapter 3. Right, okay, so the number of PowerPoints that we have for an intuition of 96 is PowerPoints is 2. So because we've got 1 rank of PowerPoint development, 1 rank of PowerPoint development, so that's 1 times the number of PowerPoint development ranks multiplied by the number of PowerPoints gained for an intuition of whatever you've got. So 96 is 1 times 2. We've got 2 PowerPoints. Can't actually use them for anything because he hasn't successfully learned any lists yet. This is different. The non-optional way is that you automatically get the number of PowerPoints according to your stat for every level. But with the addition of PowerPoint development, I feel that it brings it more alongside body development, and it allows a bit more leeway into the character's development. So your mileage may vary in what you want to do there. So we can pull things back here as well. So our resistance. Stat for essence resistance rolls is empathy, so our empathy stat is +10. The channeling is intuition, which is +15. Mentalism is presence, which is +5. And disease is constitution, and poison is both of them, right, both of them constitution, which is +10. +10, +10, no item stuff, no special stuff, no misc stuff. So our resistance rolls are +5, +10, +0, +110, and +20. So these are used on when you have something that attacks you, like a level 3 poison or something. So you've got level 3 poison versus your own level. So if you're level 1 versus a level 3 poison, that gives you a 60. So you've got to get 60 or more to be able to succeed and successfully save. So these bonuses apply to that roll, and then have at you and see if you actually successfully resist it. Yeah, so next job up. Purchasing equipment. We've totaled our bonuses, we've got a whole bunch of stuff there, and now we need to buy equipment. There we go. So we start off by, we've got our bow, which is +15. So item is our longbow, +15 from our non-magical background bits. And its weight is, I hate these ranges of things, and a long sword and that weight is, make the maths easy, and we'll work out the statistics for that in a minute. Starting money, there we go. Starting money. So, 50 silvers plus a D100. So, let's start with that. So, D100. So, we're going to start with 68 silvers. I'm just going to write down 68 on the side there. And let's just go through. Now the equipment lists are quite long, so let's buy rigid leather armour types. That is 4 hours, so we're going to go for 63 and 60. And I think that's sort of pretty much him outfitted, so we can just make a note of what he's got floating around. So he's got 56 silvers, 4 bronze, 5 coppers, and 2 tin. There we go. That's a handful of coins he's got. So we're going to have his long bow plus 15, his long sword plus 10, and the dagger. Okay, so that's his long bow, that's his long sword. So we're going to have his weapon, which is his one-handed edged dagger. See, now using the dagger, so he's got no ranks in that, so longsword, so no ranks at all. That will give him a minus 25. He's still going to have no ranks. No ranks. Minus 25 there. Rank bonus there. Stat bonus is still going to be plus 10. Level bonus is still going to be plus 1. No item bonus. And no special bonus. So that's what it goes on there. So we're going to total all of these bonuses up, and then we can transfer stuff around a little bit. So his rigid leather comes out to be plus 20. Okay, so all of those we can translate to the other side. So plus 46 and plus 31. And our minus 14. So that's it from the top. The languages we can fill in. We've got 3 language choices from the race table, so we can fill those in according to the structure of whatever campaign. height, weight and age and so on, we can calculate those. Appearance, you can do that. That's just a straight, roll in the percentage thing, 68, so whatever. And sex, we've been calling him a guy all the way through, so we'll call him a male. You do have to calculate height, weight and so on. It's necessary because a lot of your movement rates is based on that. And we can do that. Done with that side. So we can do this by going through and getting to the tables where we go. Where we got get size. So elves there. This is all sort of optional stuff, but is we can make an open-ended roll against the height here. '07. Well, interesting. So 07. So the elf 6'1". We can then take that average as 150. And then we'll go to elves, the column here, male elf, and build 38. So build is just under slender, so -1. So what we do is we go back to here, find our 150, and we go up 1. So 145. So weight is 145. So we come up with our movement rate stuff. So 142, our encumbrance table. And are required, so normal body weight for the character. So the normal body weight for the character is, as we said, it's 145. Calculate the character's weight allowance, which is 10% of his weight. So 10% of 145 is 14.5. Determine how much dead weight in pounds the character is carrying, and this is his load. So dead weight so we'll just calculate this. So it's 4, 6, 18, 20, 23, 25, 29, 30, 34, 35, 35 and a quarter. So total weight 35.25. So movement rate table, here we go. So quickness gives us 97 quickness, gives us 65 on the BMR. Then we work out stride modification for 6'1" is 0. So its base movement rate is 65. Weight allowance is over here. Is 10% of the weight, so that's 14.5. So encumbrance is between 1 and 2 times. So the encumbrance is, so we're not dealing with the armour, so that 35.25, we have to remove that 12 for his leather breastplate. So it's absolute carried dead weight. So then that comes down to, for his encumbrance, is 23.25. So 23.25. So we compare that back to his allowance of 14. The allowance of 14, that gives it's -10 encumbrance penalty, because it's here between 1 and 2 times. And that's offset by strength. So +10, -10. So the encumbrance is actually, his encumbrance penalty is +0. So it's -10, +10 from strength, net is +0 encumbrance modifier. Let's just write some things in here. So you've got Elvish, and then we'll say common, 3 languages, and let's say Orc is the other one. And it all depends. These ranks are for written and spoken, and there's a sort of languages. Yet another table somewhere. Linguistics that give you linguistics. There you go. 12. God, there we go. 4.4. Literacy and fluency in the languages were determined by culture. So that's that can vary from game to game, and we're pretty much all good. So that is all of this wonderful scribbling, about 9 times much more than you all of any other game, but that's basically the way it goes. There's a lot of character design going on, a lot of decisions that you make, and a lot of kind of niceties that you come up with. So yeah, these are the skill bonuses that it gets on there, and so in my overview video of Rolemaster really is, if you've got a copy of Arms Law, what you really need for this character would need a copy of the longsword and longbow table and the longsword table, and then because this uses piercing criticals, we'd need the piercing critical table. Oh, there we go. So a longsword uses the broadsword table. And we can fill these values in from Arms Law. Armor modifiers 70-20 plus 5. So a longsword is really just a modified broadsword. That's it. So weapons that have got tables of their own, just use those tables, and weapons that don't, usually found on this table, with treated as this weapon but with these modifiers. And we're done. So here's our ranger. Here's his base statistics. Resistance rolls, equipment, weapon attacks, and then we have the skills that he's got and the bonuses that he's got with those skills, and his spells. And the chance, we could put in the chance there, but it's you can do these things however you like. I think it's more because you've got all the ranks and things, and on this table it makes more sense to me to indicate the ranks that you're buying for your various skills, so rather than having the thing twice. So once he's got that acquisition, then we can say that the first acquisition will be up to level 10 in that, so we can put that there. So the chance column, I think, it's better done handled down here. Wood Elf Ranger. Bit of toing and froing. That's the big problem with Rolemaster. They've got chapter 2 in the classic books, which is equivalent in the 2nd edition ones as well, where you've got the sort of takes you through character generation, but to actually get through it, and the number of times you have to dip through to chapter 5 and then go back to chapter 6, then go back to chapter 7. The good thing about the classic one is that they're all big labels on the chapter numbers, so you can go through, and the numbering of the tables, same in 2nd edition, the number of tables, the numbering of tables, not the number of tables, the numbering of the tables directly correlates to the chapter, so they're relatively easy to find things in the books. But it is a little bit difficult to flick back and forth between the books themselves. Yeah, a lot of page flipping. But once a character's there, when you go up a level, you get another block of stat gains. You get another block of so yeah, it's oh, and one last thing, experience points. All first level characters start with 10,000 experience points. So that's it. That's Rolemaster Classic.